Hi guys, this is Bonnie from support. I just wanted to make this video for you to show you guys how to set up your SMTP settings within Everlesson using Mailgun and Cloudflare. You don't necessarily have to choose Mailgun or Cloudflare, but I have for this demonstration. But you can use other SMTP providers such as SendGrid, Elastic Email, whatever you choose. And this will work regardless of where your site is pointing to. You just need to make sure that you understand where to enter in DNS records. So I'm already logged into Mailgun, so I'm going to add a new domain. Mailgun is free, just so you guys know, up to 10,000 emails per month. So if you don't have an account, you can definitely sign up at mailgun.com. And again, it's free for up to 10,000 transactional emails per month, meaning password resets, login information, etc. So the first thing you want to do is put in your domain name. And you need to use a subdomain, as they're suggesting here. So as they're suggesting, I'm going to put in MG and then the name of my domain name. So I'm going to use bonniebueno.com, and I just suggest going with the MG as they've put it in there because it's just easier. So I'm going to click on Add Domain. Now you're going to come to this page, which gives you the steps to verify your domain, and I'm just going to go over them with you one by one so you understand how to enter them. And again, the DNS records are the same no matter who you're using, whether it's any of these Namecheap network solutions. You just need to know where to enter them, depending on who you're using. Again, I'm using Cloudflare. So I'm logged into Cloudflare. And when you log in, they bring you to the overview page. So this is where they would bring me after I've picked the domain I want to use. Cloudflare is also free, and it gives you a free SSL, so it's really a good choice. If you are open to that. And so I'm just going to click on DNS. As you can see, I already have a few records in here, but I'm going to create more based on these Mailgun DNS records. So the first two, we're going to create 5 records in total. The first two are going to be text records. So I'm going to copy this and go into Cloudflare, and I'm going to add this record. So I'm going to click here to choose the text record. I'm going to paste that in the first box, and you'll just want to make sure that you don't have any spaces before or after the mg. whatever your domain is .com. I'm going to go back into Mailgun, and we're going to copy this little bit of code right here. If you're on a Mac, copy is Command C. If you're on Windows, it's Control C. And I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to put it in the second box here. So paste, save, and now I just need to hit Add Record. So we're going to do the same thing for all of these records. I'm going to enter another text record here and put that first line here. Now I just want to double check that I don't have any spaces in here like I did the first one. Okay, so I don't. And then I'm going to copy this really long one here. Copy. And I'm going to paste it in the second box. Click on Save and add the record. Now we're going to move on to MX records. So for MX records, they're a little bit different. The priority is 10. This is really easy to remember, so I'm not going to copy and paste it, but it is important to know. This value is what's going to go in that second box, and the only difference between these two are the A and the B. So when I add this record, I'm going to change this here to MX, and I'm going to put the subdomain in here, which is MG. And then I'm going to paste that mxa.mailgun.org. I'm going to change the priority to 10 and click on Save. And now I'm going to add this record. I'm going to add another exact record just like this one, except instead of MXA here, it's going to say MXB as it shows in Mailgun. And I'm going to change this to 10, save it, and add the record. The very last record we're going to add is the CNAME record. So I'm going to copy this first one, go in here, I'm going to change this to CNAME, I'm going to paste, and then I'm going to go back here, and it's just mailgun.org for the second value. So I'll just type that in here, mailgun.org, and I'll add the record. Now when you add this record, you need to make sure that you turn off the orange cloud or it's not going to work. So don't forget to turn off that orange cloud. Now I'm going to go back into Mailgun because I need to verify the domain. So it says that it can take 24 to 48 hours, but usually it happens within a minute or so. So I'm going to click on the Continue to Domain Overview, and I'm going to scroll all the way down. As you can see, some of these are green and some of them are red. So I'm just going to check to see that it has gone through, and there we go. So this is what we're looking for. All of the green, all of these to be checked as green. So that means they've all been verified, and so as you can see, it only took about a minute or two for them to get verified. But prior to verifying, you'll see red exclamations. So now that that's done, it's perfect. I'm going to come over here because you're going to want to change your tracking settings. Click tracking, open tracking, and unsubscribes. These you're going to want to turn on because these are things you're going to want to be able to track within Mailgun. You know, in order to see, A, yes, if your mail's been sent, 2, if it's been clicked on, if they've opened it, if they've clicked on a link inside the email, or even if they've unsubscribed. So I'm just going to turn all of these on. It's important to know that you cannot turn these on until all of these are green. But once you've checked the DNS records, and you can always, if you do get an error, you can always just click this button here and have it re-verify. But once you have them all green, you can come up here and you can turn these on. Actually, let me turn that on. So now they're all turned on. The information that you now want is right here. So I'm going to copy. You really only need the first, or I'm sorry, these 4 lines. And really you do not need the API base URL, but I'm going to copy it anyway because it's within that little range. You're going to take that and you're going to add it to a note. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go into Everlesson and we're going to add these details. You have to add it in 2 places. Let's see if it will let me log in. Member portal. All right, let me log into my Everlesson account. So we need to enter our domain or SMTP settings in 2 areas. We need to enter them here in Global Settings under Integrations. We're going to go to the SMTP tab and click on SMT Integration. Now this is where you're going to want to enter that information that you had pasted on your notepad. So I'm just going to reopen that notepad. The SMT, the server that it's looking for here is that host name. So I'm just going to paste that there. The port for Mailgun is 25. So if you're using Mailgun, 25 is what you're going to want to use. If you're using SendGrid or Elastic Email or any other provider, you're going to want to, figure out what their port is. Your SMTP username goes here, so that so I can delete this because I don't need that line. But the username is here, and I'll enter that here. And then you're going to want to enter that really long password down at the bottom, which is here under default password. So I'm going to copy and paste that. Minimize and paste. Make sure you save your SMTP details. And as you can see, it says it's been successfully updated. I'm going to go back into SMTP. Now you'll notice there's a green check mark there. And I'm going to send a test mail. Test mail sent successfully. So it's set up perfectly here. Now there is another place you need to enter these details. So if you go back into your dashboard and choose the membership site that you wish to enter these details in, and you will have to enter them in each membership site individually. But you just click on the edit button. And actually, if you have a pro account, you'll be able to click on the edit button here. If you have a basic account, this is where you're going to click to edit your membership. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to click on the settings over here on the right, the three cogs, and I'm going to go all the way down to page settings. Now you'll notice there's another SMTP tab here, like there was under global settings. So I'm just going to click on SMTP, and I'm going to re-enter all of that information. So I already have the password copied, so I'm just going to paste it here. I'm going to go back to my notepad, to the username, which is here. I know the port is 25, and the SMT server was smtp dot, oh, let's see it again, .mailgun.org. Then I'll come down here, well, I'll save it. Then you're also going to want to come down here and enter a from name and a from email address. It's really important. You can enter any email address you want in here, but it's really important to make sure that the email address you enter here is a valid email address. Because as we all know, sometimes even if it comes from a no reply at yourdomainname.com, a lot of people will still hit reply to that. So you'll just want to make sure that it's a valid email so that if a customer does reply to the email, you'll actually receive their email or request. So in this case, I'm going to use this. I'm going to save it. And now I'm going to send out another test email just to make sure that my settings came through all right. Oh, looks like it failed. Okay, so no biggie. I'll just clear it. And I'll enter those details in again. It was smtp.mailgun.org. Port is 25. The username I already have copied here, and I'll come back in and just grab my password again and click on save. So as soon as that's saved, I'll just give it one more try. And then I'll try that test email again. There it goes, and now it's been successful. So if it fails the first time you send it, it's not a big deal. Just clear it and re-enter those details, and it should work perfectly. So I'll just send you guys that again. Test mail sent successfully. So it's working perfectly, and that's how you set up your SMTP settings using Mailgun and Cloudflare.